I have to say that we were a little disappointed in the reaction of the Colombian government, which apparently expressed heartfelt condolences on the loss of lives in Pakistan after the Indian strikes. We will say to our friends in Colombia, there can be no equivalence between those who dispatch terrorists and those who resist them. All of these things, India has been requesting dialogue with Pakistan under the provisions of the treaty, but Pakistan has refused to cooperate and talk to us. We are not interested in war. We were just conducting retribution for a terrorist attack. If they stop, we stop.
Diplomatic move, Congress MP Shashi Tharoor has fired a message straight from Colombia. Don't confuse the defender with the attacker. Leading a multi-party delegation across 5 nations, Tharoor expressed clear disappointment at Colombia's reaction after India's Operation Sindoor, a reaction that seemed to sympathize with Pakistan, not with the victims of terror in Pahalgam. We were a little disappointed, Tharoor told the media. There can be no equivalence between terrorists and those who resist them. The Congress MP was referencing Colombia's condolences for Pakistani casualties after India's precision strikes on terror camps. But Tharoor made India's stance very clear. Terrorism has no justification. Retaliation was self-defense. Listen in to what he said.
I have to say that we were a little disappointed in the reaction of the Colombian government, which apparently expressed heartfelt condolences on the loss of lives in Pakistan after the Indian strikes, rather than sympathizing with the victims of terrorism. We will say to our friends in Colombia, there can be no equivalence between those who dispatch terrorists and those who resist them. There can be no equivalence between those who attack and those who defend. We are only exercising our right of self-defense, and if there is any misunderstanding here on this score, we are here to dispel any such misunderstanding. National matters affecting us. On the question of our expectations from this visit, as I said at the beginning, Ayushi, we are here looking for understanding. We want Colombia, the government and people of Colombia, the Parliament of Colombia, the think tanks and idea makers and shapers of Colombia to understand what we have just been through. And if they have that understanding, we are confident we will have their sympathy and support, which we also hope to get. But first we need to understand, because we have the impression that perhaps the situation was not fully understood when that one statement came out after the Indian attacks began. Understanding is extremely important for us. We are a country which really has been a force for constructive progress in the world. We are proud of our contributions to the United Nations in areas like peacekeeping and development and fighting the environment, all sorts of things. India has never been a country that wishes to be seen in the context of war and terror. This has been inflicted upon us, and we are simply not going to take it lying down. That's what we want people to understand. And we certainly hope that other governments will tell those who give safe haven and protection to terrorists to stop doing so. That would be very helpful indeed as well, in the Security Council or outside it.
He also spoke about the Indus Waters Treaty. Here's what he said.
The Indus Waters Treaty was one that was offered by India to Pakistan in early 1960s in a spirit of goodwill and harmony. In fact, those words occur in the preamble of the treaty. Sadly, that goodwill has been repeatedly betrayed by the terrorist actions of the last 4 decades. Even though we have had terrorism and war inflicted on us, the treaty has remained in place. But this time, our government has placed the treaty in abeyance which means it is in effect suspended. Its operations are suspended until such time as we get satisfactory indication from Pakistan that they are prepared to conduct themselves in that spirit of goodwill that is provided for in the preamble of the treaty. We are very conscious that we have been a generous neighbor when it comes to the operation of the treaty. We are an upper riparian state. We have given Pakistan very generously the waters that they are entitled to under the treaty, and we have not even used all the waters we are entitled to under the treaty. But the time for acting on the basis of goodwill unilaterally is frankly no longer with us. We feel that goodwill is a two-way street, and Pakistan must also show that it is capable of acting in good faith before we have an opportunity to resume the full operations of the treaty. Let me add one more thing. For several years now, even before this particular problem arose, India has been requesting dialogue with Pakistan on the treaty because of numerous factors that have developed since the treaty was concluded 65 years ago. One very important factor is climate change. Global warming has meant that the glaciers in the Himalayas are melting. There will soon be an increase in water flow, but it will then be followed with a reduction in water flow as the glaciers change. We need to talk about this and take measures and steps for it. Secondly, there has been significant demographic change. The usage of water in Pakistan is, broadly speaking, now unsustainable because of the number of people drawing water from the Indus. There has also been technological change. The restrictions placed in the treaty reflect the dam engineering technologies of the 1950s. Today, there are new sophisticated technologies available, which would make it possible for us to have modifications which do not harm anybody's interests, but which would enable both sides to have more water used. All of these things, India has been requesting dialogue with Pakistan under the provisions of the treaty, but Pakistan has refused to cooperate and talk to us. So we would suggest that Pakistan first take active steps to dismantle the infrastructure of terrorism and show the goodwill we're looking for. And second, that they also engage with us seriously at the level of experts on all these issues. These are issues which certainly cannot be ignored with the passage of time.
Yet back home, not everyone in the Congress seems entirely aligned. Reports suggest that there's some unease within the party over the aggressive foreign messaging. But so far, no one's gone on record. Meanwhile, Tharoor isn't holding back. He spoke on the US mediation rumors. Tharoor shut them down. We received calls, yes, but mediation, no. India never asked for it. We are not the ones looking for a fight. Listen in.
We can only speak to the contacts that our government had. We received a number of phone calls from senior United States officials and also from senior officials of other countries, of France, of UAE, of Saudi Arabia, and so on. And the message we gave to all these countries was exactly the same. We are not interested in war. We were just conducting retribution for a terrorist attack. If they stop, we stop. If that message was then in turn conveyed by such countries to Pakistan, it may well have had an effect in persuading Pakistan to stop, knowing that their stopping would also mean India would stop. So it's possible that that's what happened. But certainly there was no sort of active process of mediation that we are aware of, certainly nothing involving us, because we never intended to begin with, from the very first day when the first terror strikes, the anti-terror strikes took place on the night of the 7th of May, the next morning we gave a public briefing to the world, televised, saying that we have no desire to prolong this. If Pakistan retaliates, we will retaliate. If Pakistan stops, we will stop. That was our consistent position every day. So there was no change. They stopped, we decided to stop. We are not the belligerent power in this particular equation.
For those unaware, Shashi Tharoor is leading a multi-party delegation to Guyana, Panama, Colombia, Brazil and the US with a clear mission to expose Pakistan's deep-rooted terror links. For more such stories, please subscribe to the Free Press Journal. Thank you for watching.